Welcome to the Sunday discussions. This week we take a look at DLC or downloadable content. Okay, so using a controller for the second time on this game since last Sunday. This is the only time I've played it. Oh, let's turn the lights on to start with. Or not. Oh, turn the engine on. That might be why. Oh, do we need to go that way? Seems so. Let's turn the wheel. Okay, so I'm going to talk about DLC this week. Now, DLC is something I've always been a little bit against because I was brought up on the original Xbox and it wasn't connected to the internet. So I always played a game as it came. I'm just going to turn the volume down. This world's a car. And I've slightly overcooked that. I'm just going to turn the volume down ever so slightly because I can't hear myself talk. Go down. Like that. Okay. Let's turn in. I always forget which side of the road to drive on in this game. Try and do a little bit better this time. He says driving on the wrong side of the road. Okay, so DLC. I was always brought up on the original Xbox, which was not connected to the internet, so I played a game as it came. Which, to be honest, I feel you should always be able to do. A game should come fully made as a playable. Oh, I'm doing really well here. Single player experience. If you want to play online, that's fine. Buy PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live, whatever it is, and play online with friends. DLC, I think it should always be as a bonus, extra content for the game that you've got. So, for instance, I've written down a big long list of what I see as positives and negatives of downloadable content. One of the main positives, which I think is a genuine positive that DLC adds, is the obvious content. It's extra stuff on top of the game. So if you take, for instance, a game like, what game has faced a lot of stick recently? The Arkham series. So the one that came out and didn't actually do very well, was released with a lot of DLC, and we'll come on to what type of DLC that was a bit later, but you could play as different characters. As Catwoman, was Harley Quinn an option? I forget. Anyway, you could play as extra characters, and without DLC, downloadable content, you could argue that wouldn't be a chance. You wouldn't have been able to do that a few years ago. Access that opportunity to play with extra characters. As well as that, look at the game I'm playing now, American Truck Simulator. One of the things you can do on this game is you can purchase, via DLC, different paint jobs and sort of accessories like that, which I think is great. If you particularly want a style of paint, then DLC gives you that chance. You can have that style of paint, and otherwise you wouldn't be able to do that. So, big positive there for DLC. However, to counter that positive, talking once again about the Arkham game that came out last year, I believe, we have the opportunity for developers to withhold content. The biggest offender, or offenders, maybe to be slightly fairer, I feel are the racing games, sports games, sort of where you can easily add very little to your game, such as a team or a car or whatever, and charge a lot of money. Now, Forza. The Forza series, I believe, in my opinion, is really bad at this, because you see day one DLC or car passes, things like that. They say you can have a monthly car pass for 6 months or whatever, which means they've planned it out ahead that what they're going to do is release more cars, which obviously they will have to obtain a license or contracts to enable them to have that car in the game, which means they have already got that ability on release day to have that car in the game. What they're doing, therefore, is holding that content, not releasing it with the game. They're going to wait to eke that little bit more money out of you by releasing it in a car pack later down the line. That, to me, is fundamentally, I can't even speak. It's just frustrating. It's fundamentally wrong. You should not ever hold back any content of any description from your release game when you have got it to release on release date. And there is no one who could convince me that the content they release in the packs has not already been created, or at least started to create prior to release. If you release a pre-order car, which is another thing that's really annoying, pre-order bonuses. Don't get me started on that. If you release a pre-order car, that means you've got that car. It's modelled, finished, completely ready for launch. So why can't that be in the game? I don't understand. If you release a car pack a month after the game release, to get it through the quality assurance and the checks, it's gonna have to be ready pretty much at the same time the game goes gold. Games go gold about a month before release as it is. So that is a frustrating use of DLC. That, in that sense, it is not downloadable content. It is a way to eke a bit of extra money on top of full price games, and that to me is just disgusting. Right. Back to a positive. DLC does provide and show the community provides future support. Oh, I don't know what this means. Pull in for a vehicle inspection. Okay. Or do we go this way? I suppose so. It shows the community that the developers care about the game. If they say, look, from the outright, look, what we're going to do in the future, we're going to provide you with support. Look further down the line, yeah, our game might not have what you want, but look on the right side, we're going to support you later on. We're going to extend the lifespan of this game to its fullest. You look now at a game like Star Wars Battlefront. I'm not endorsing the DLC of this game, but it's said from the outset you've got these expansion packs. It's gonna take over a year for all of these to come out. Now, a few years ago, you play a game, you're gonna play it, complete it within a month. That's it. Probably gonna move on, play a totally different game from then. With a game that says, look, a year from now, there's going to be more to this game. That's going to keep you going back to that game. It's going to make you want to play the game more, so you get the access to that content down the line. And when that content does come out, if you've been playing it more, so you're going to have that upper hand against people who are just coming into the game specifically for that content. So, in that way, that can work for consumers, showing that you're going to have that level of support further down the line. But if you have that support further down the line, you promise that from the outset, and your release is a lot less than you expected, then you become dependent on that DLC down the line to make your money. And as a result of that dependency, if you need the money, you're going to hike that price up as high as you can. If you look, for instance, at a game such as Train Simulator, it's not really a game that many people will play, admittedly, but it's got its market out there. If you go onto Steam now and look at Train Simulator's DLC, if you want to play every single piece of DLC on that game, I'm not joking, you're looking at well over £3,000 for this one game. Content to play on a game. Because of that dependency and the wants for that content to make the game work, the price is astronomical, and that's because the DLC is being used as the chunk to make the money, because the game itself does not sell the required amount. So from then, DLC is the source of income, which to me, you should not make a game where the extra content added on top of the base game is your income stream. That shouldn't work like that. It should be the extra content is a bonus amount of money that you make on top of the money that you make off the base game, if that makes sense, which I'm sure it doesn't. I'm going to go left here, yep. But staying with that, with the Trains franchise, I'm going to crash. I'm not going to crash, but I'm going to way overcook that. This has not gone to plan. Same with Trains. Train Simulator. It's not called Trains anymore. Having that DLC, it costs a lot of money. It does show. With the sheer amount of DLC, I would suggest to anyone, go and have a look on the Train Simulator page as well. It's worth a look at the DLC. The sheer amount of DLC you can buy, what it does show is that they care, that the DLC is being released, particular lines and routes and towns and things. It shows that they care. They're listening to what the community want, and they are releasing specific areas into DLC that players want to play. Granted, possibly an elevated price, but it's still being there, and that's a good use of DLC. It shows the care of the community. But the price of DLC in the flip side of that shows the lack of care. It's not care for the community, it's care for the money that they can provide your company. And don't get me wrong, I understand businesses are there to make money. However, the way you make money in a genuine, honest way is to care for the community in such a way that they feel that they are able to depart more money in supporting your game, because they want to buy your game to support your company. What they shouldn't have to do is pay money to support your company, because they have to if they want to be able to play if they want to play the releases that your company are making to its fullest, which is the companies that release DLC that without your game isn't playable. That's like the day one fixes. Well, it's not a fix, it's a paid bit of DLC that will make the game make the game more, if that makes sense. Oh, was that green? Should I have gone then? Yeah, I'm not paying attention because I'm getting riled up because DLC is annoying. That's edging into the area of microtransactions, which we're going to cover here at length in another discussion. But yeah, you shouldn't have to pay to have the same game experience as somebody else. That to me is wrong. if you are buying DLC, it's got to be something different, but it's something that is not a necessity. And yeah, that's my discussion on DLC. There's a few positive points, a few negative points, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So we're going to pull up now to here. Oh, we're going this way. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. I'm hoping I'm going to improve. Oh, do I need to stop in that? Hoping that I'm going to improve over time. Save. I'm going to improve over time, so you'll watch as the discussions go on. My driving skills are improving. Oh, he said as he crashed. We're going to leave it there. Excellent. Just yes, perfect. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.